Hey guys, John here with Survival Dispatch. I wanted to bring you guys a short video of 2 new ways of fire starting that I've been using lately, and I wanted to also put them more to the test while I was out here. You know, I always say that you should test everything that you're going to take into the field, and I always break my test into 2 different parts. The first one is I make it as a controlled environment, you know, so if we're talking about fire, I wait for a nice warm sunny day, you know, that I can go out and practice with building, you know, that new method of fire starting. And then I like to get out and for phase 2 and try it in conditions like this. It rained all last night. Everything is soaking wet around here. You know, all the sticks and tinder and stuff that I got is soaking wet. And what I want to do is see how these match up, because the last thing we want to do is think that, you know, what we have in our kit is, you know, perfect and ready to go, and then when we really need it in a survival situation like this, it's raining, it's getting cold, it's about 30 degrees here, it's still spitting a little bit of rain here and there, that our fire system just doesn't work, and now it's extremely cold, and you know, and almost panic starts to set in, because now what you thought you had to get a good fire started is not working. So, you know, we always have our tried and true way of starting fires, but I've been, you know, experimenting with some different stuff lately, and the first one being is these are paraffin and cedar wood wax blocks. I got these off of Amazon. I'll make sure that I leave a description below for them. But really all these is wax impregnated cedar. And these things burn for quite a while, you know, they burn really hot. Now I would consider these a tinder. What I've paired these up with is a good old tried and true Trioxane bar. And you can get these off of Amazon as well. Trioxane bars are military, you know, fuel compressed pretty much, you know, that it catches a fire, it burns extremely hot. You can, you know, cook food, boil water and stuff like that on it. But when you pair it up with a tinder, it makes a really good fire starter. So that's going to be the first option I'm going to try. And then the second one is this is a commercial based product. This is called the Fire Puck. And what I like about this is it's a 100% self-contained fire starting unit. It has the striker, it has a way of ignite fire, where the trioxane in the Cedar Bar, I still need something like a lighter or a ferro rod or something to at least get a spark on the trioxane to get it started. So we're gonna give both of these a shot right now. I have a bunch of smaller, extremely wet. I mean, there's not a single thing out here that's dry that I could use. So some wet wood, we're gonna see if we can get that started. So we're just gonna make a couple, you know, test fires here. I'm gonna put some wet wood around it, on it, and see what these do. Now I will warn you, one thing with trioxane is it pretty much burns clear, a lot like alcohol. So so make sure as far as getting it started that you're always, you know, cautious that even if you don't see a fire, there might be one going. I don't want you to burn your hands on that. So we'll get started with this one. In the instructions for these Cedar Barks, they say that, and it's kind of a quartered thing, kind of like a pizza. They say that you should only use a quarter, or you can use a quarter of one. I'm just going to use a full one here, because that's what I'm going to do. And then the same with the Trioxane bar. You know, I usually break these into about thirds, and you know, and I just kind of wrap it back up and reseal it. I'll do semi-close to that. Just break it in half. And it kind of looks purplish in a way, and when it catches on fire, it's going to look even more purple. So that's that. Let's see how these work here. And just like that, see, you can't see that it's on fire, but it is on fire. And what'll happen here is it's going to catch the cedar and start burning the wax in the cedar here. But I know you guys can't see it, but it's definitely putting out heat, which is kind of nice on my hands right now. And then as you can see, now the cedar's starting to burn, and you're starting to get a little bit of an orange flame. All right, so that one's going. And as you can see, the cedar's now burning, and it's wax impregnated. Now I did some earlier tests on this stuff, and I was really impressed by it. You can't blow it out. You know, I mean, blow it hard as you can't blow it out. It's done really well in wind. I've also sprayed this thing with the garden hose before this for quite a while, and I couldn't get it to go out either. I mean, I put a garden hose straight on it for a couple of minutes, and it stayed lit. So the trioxane does a fantastic job of creating a lot of heat, and then the cedar is what's really burning and getting that nice fire going. And guys, what we're trying to do here is in an emergency situation, trying to make things as simple as possible. You know, we don't want to have to be dealing with char cloth or something like that in conditions like this where hypothermia could easily set in. It's wet, and all we want right now is a fire to get warm, to dry out our clothes, to cook food, whatever we need to do. But we want a fire that we know that we can trust. So that's going pretty well there. So let's see what we do here. Now, for what I like about the fire puck is it's all inclusive. So there's a striker on the top side, there's a bar on the front, and you're supposed to just light them together, strike them together, kind of like a match on a box, and they're supposed to take right off. So it's pretty much like a road flare, you know, as you can see. Extremely hot, and then it starts to die off, but that was easier than I thought it was going to be. So see, look how easy we got 2 fires going. Now I will say the cedar one, what I also like about it, it puts off like 0 smoke. So if you're having to stay low key and out of sight, you know, the cedar is also a great option, where the fire puck is putting off some smoke, but they're both burning really, really hot. So let's see what putting some wet wood on these will do here. And guys, this stuff is nasty wet. I mean, I didn't even try to. You can like see the steam coming off of it as I'm putting it on. This fire puck, man, this little thing's nasty. Yeah, it's burning whatever I'm putting on there. Yeah, this fire puck is like a torch here. Holy smokes. I'm really impressed by the fire puck. I've never used one before. So let's see if it can get some, you know, small twigs and stuff here going. So fire puck's starting to die down a little bit, and you know, and what I'm interested in the fire puck is to see if it burns long enough to really get wet wood going. Like, I know this would probably be awesome to get like a barbecue grill or something going, to where you have a controlled substance, or if you had a bunch of dry tinder, you know, be it moss or whatever it might be, you know, and the fire puck might be really good as that initial flame to get tinder going, where I feel like this cedar bark, or this cedar wax impregnated option here, I mean, it's just continuing to burn. So see, as we can see here, I hope the second camera's picking it up, the fire puck's pretty much burned out. I mean, I got, I don't know, let's call it a minute of high intensity fire. And if I had some really dry, you know, moss, leaves, things like that, I think you could very easily get a fire going, because that thing burns so hot. But if you're stuck with nothing but wet stuff in a survival situation, and all you had is a fire puck in your pocket, you got about a minute of burn time to get something going. And I mean, you know, this is some hot embers here, but you're working hard now to try to figure something out, where, you know, this cedar here is just continuously burning. I'm really pretty impressed by it. And guys, I'm just throwing, you know, wet sticks on here, and it seems to be doing really, really well. So let's see what we got. And we definitely have small sticks are definitely burning now. And I would consider this to be a successful fire. That, you know, with a little bit of stoking, it's good to go. So I'm really impressed by this. You know, the trioxane catches a spark off of a ferro rod. If you have a lighter, If you have a flint and steel, man, trioxane will catch pretty much anything. And then the cedar, what they said on the box is that it'll burn for 30 minutes. So, you know, 30 minutes, even if that's cut in half. I like to take everything, you know, batteries, everything that everybody says has, you know, a time frame, and cut it in half pretty much. You know, so even if I got 15 minutes out of this, you know, 15 minutes is enough to keep, you know, to put wood around it. And then what I would do if I was really, you know, desperate for dry wood, is I would start stacking my whole pile right around it, just so it would start to get heat. So I would stack it around it just like that and let it start to dry out. And as it started to dry out, I'd take things from the outside and put them right on the fire. But I'm really impressed by this. I mean, it's definitely drying out the twigs and sticks that I have here. And I didn't use any leaves, I didn't use any moss, nothing like that. I went straight to sticks, small sticks. And it's, you know, this thing, I could have a good fire going here very, very easily. So, you know, kind of create a log cabin around it to dry out the wood more than anything. But this thing is going. Yeah, so I'm really impressed by this, guys. And I'll definitely leave a link below. That cedar puck, I mean, it's probably 3/4 in size still, you know, and it's a big puck, and you don't have to use the whole thing if you don't want to, but I feel like the wax is really working the same way that like petroleum jelly does. It's giving that good fuel to continuously burn, and then the cedar is dry enough. That dry wood of a cedar is really what's keeping that fire going. And as of right now, you can see these flames here. I mean, that's straight off the sticks. You know, I have what I would consider to be, you know, a successful fire here. And the smoke you're starting to see is because the sticks are now burning instead of the cedar and wax. So guys, I'm really impressed by this. And you know, this is what they look like. I'll get a little close up here. So this is what they look like. They come wrapped, and I dunk these in water, and I left them in water for 2 hours in a bowl of water at my house, submerged, and they stayed dry. So that's another good thing, you know, that I don't have to worry that my fire starter is wet when I need it to be. So really impressed by these. This is something that's definitely going to be going in all of my bags. They're really light, they're not heavy at all, especially if you follow their instructions and break these, you know, break them in half twice and make them quarters. That gives you 4 fire starters for not a lot of weight. And, you know, as you can see, you know, we have a fire here. So, and the fire is hot enough that it's starting to dry all the wood. I can see the steam coming off of it. So this is a successful fire in my opinion. And guys, I would highly recommend this stuff, you know, and because when it comes to fires, I hate the gimmicks. I want something that's tried and true. That's why I use Trioxane so much. I use Trioxane. I like it because I've used it so many times. Now, I will say, you know, Trioxane, it will run out. The bar will run out. But you plan accordingly based on how long you think your trip's going to be, is how many Trioxane bars you think you might take, and then take an extra one. But guys, if you have any questions with regards to getting a fire started in a wet condition, feel free to leave them below. You know, comment, tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you've ever used, you know, wax impregnated cedar, or tell me what you use, you know, as a guaranteed, you know, quasi guaranteed. Nothing's a guarantee, but a sure thing, you know, when you're out in the field. And until next time, be safe.